One of the things, I guess, with the speaker is you've got the best opportunity of the whole team to prepare in advance. You can do all your research and everything. Tell us a little bit about how you would prepare for a speech.
Yeah, so when you're preparing for a speech, I think first of all you've got to decide what your topic is and what you want to do. And I think it's a good idea to do something that you like, that you're passionate about, or just something that you're curious about, because then not only you won't feel like you have to research your topic, you'll feel like you're interested in it and you want to go and find out deeper, so that when the questions come around, you're ready, you've got something to add. You're not just kind of re-saying what you said in your speech. You can add in stuff that you've taken from other sources. I think when preparing for the speech itself, first of all, just like memorizing it, going over it, and making sure that you kind of know it inside and out, so that you can work on other things, like how you present yourself, how you project your voice, how you pronounce, how you make sure you deliver humor and emotional moments in your speech, so that you make sure every beat hits with the audience and the judges.
Do you have to, when you're given a topic by the ESU, you choose the topic one of the topics they offer you, do you have to be in favour of that topic or against it, or can you look at both sides? What are the sort of guidelines there?
Yeah, I don't think you have to be in favour of it or against it. I actually think the best way to look at it is to look at both sides, because then that actually shows that you've done your research and you've considered both, and then maybe you do reach a conclusion at the end, which is your final viewpoint on the question. But I think if you look at both sides and you say, this is what this is, this is what this isn't, then it shows the audience and the judges that you care about your topic, that you're interested in it and invested, and that you know what you're doing.
When you are actually delivering your speech, how do you kind of build in a bit of a structure so that you're not just rambling on for 5 minutes, but you've actually got something that the audience can follow?
Yeah, probably, as we all know, doing essays in school and stuff like that, the keys are intro and conclusion, obviously, so the audience know where they are in the speech. But I think nice ways to like signpost like different movements and different points is with movements or gestures to like punctuate when you've moved on from one point to another, or to really emphasize a certain thing that you're trying to say. And when you move on to a point, just make it really clear to the audience so they know where in the speech that you are. And that way also will help you, so you don't overrun or you don't underrun, so you know exactly your pace and how you're going.
And in line with pacing and make sure you don't overrun or underrun, how have you found is the best way to be practicing your speech before the competition?
I think you just have to be timing it over and over again, and it can get very repetitive and you're like, I don't want to do it again. But I think that's the best way to do it, because then you get an idea of the pace of how you speak and when is the right time and when it isn't. And then you'll know, like, if you stumble over words, how that's going to affect you, like, in the long term, and you won't be as worried about it on the day if you've practiced with your timing, because you're trusting yourself that you know what you're doing.
I also think a very useful preparation technique, as we did, is if you get the speaker to practice with the questioner and indeed with the chair, the questioner can come up with exemplar questions that might actually come up in the real thing, and that also gives useful prompts for the speaker to go and research different aspects of the theme that the questioner has brought up.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, because it just benefits both parties so much, because you both get something out of it. And I think, honestly, one of the best ways to prepare for it is doing it with other people. And obviously sometimes that can be hard, but whenever you can, I think that's a great way to do it, so you can get the dynamic and replicate the competition as much as you can beforehand.
What do you think about using quotations in your speeches? I found it quite funny over the years that we went through a sort of a phase when every speech had to have a Nelson Mandela quote, and every speech used to have a Steve Jobs quote. Nowadays it's a Greta Thunberg quote. Some of these things can be sort of overdone a little bit, I think, but do you think good quotations would help in a speech?
I think good quotations help. I don't think you can't have a quotation just for the sake of having a quotation, because I think that's just obvious, and then everyone's like, oh, they just threw in a quotation there, and that's not what people want.